All right. So I ask some of my friends at work, what do you think the bench press world record is? And I go, just give it a shot. What do you think it is? Just throw some numbers out. And a friend of mine goes, oh, I don't know, 700. I went, no, keep going. And he goes, 850. I went, no, keep going. And he goes, 1200. I went, no, keep going. He goes, are you fucking serious? I was like, yeah, I'm interviewing the guy tonight. His name is Jimmy Kolb. And he set the world record at 1320. What's up, Jimmy?
How you doing, John?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. These numbers are just insane. Literally, it's not only, from what I understand, it's not only the best bench press ever. It's basically the single largest powerlifting lift ever, right?
That's correct. Yes.
So nobody's ever squatted more than this. Nobody's ever deadlifted more than this.
Nope. The heaviest squat. Now we're equipped. We're on the equipped side of the sport.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But regardless, the heaviest squat ever done to this day, he goes by Tractor Baptist. I believe he squatted 1311 sometime last year, and I exceeded that with the bench press.
And what about the deadlift? The deadlift is still Thor?
Deadlift, yeah, it's in the, as far as powerlifting goes, I believe it's over $1,000. Now, if you talk strongman deadlift, it is over 1100, like 1105, I believe is still the record, 501 or 2 kilos.
Yeah, I think that was half Thor, right?
That was Hathor. That was the mountain. And and the strongman, now, they will do partial lifts. They will do sometimes carries that exceed sometimes over 1300. I believe the heaviest like yoke carry that I've seen over a 10 or 15 foot distance was like 1800 pounds. But again, those are partial lifts, carries. But as far as an actual competitive full lift, that heaviest weight stands with me for now.
Wow. Well, I mean, listen, Tiny Meeker had it at 1125, and then Gillespie had it at 1129.
Correct.
And that was like inside of like what, 2 months that he broke it. And then you came along and said, no, I'm not fucking around. No, we're not doing this 4 or 5 pound shit.
Right.
I'm breaking this record by 191 pounds.
Yes.
Do you think do you think anybody is going to break that anytime soon?
Well, in my opinion, records are rented. They're borrowed. You don't. I own it, but we have records because they're meant to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it will be broken someday, either by myself again or by somebody else. That's why we have sport. That's why we have competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how long it will take, that's a really good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be a couple of weeks, could be a couple of months, a couple of years. There's no telling. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. So now, how did you get into powerlifting? Were you always strong, or were you into other sports and you kind of segued into weightlifting? How did it work?
Yes. My mom, my parents, my dad was not in my life for a very long time. So my mother got me involved in sports at a very young age, just the normal stuff, the soccer, baseball. But we're actually from Montana. So out there, soccer and baseball were pretty popular. We moved to Ohio. Then it was, I got into martial arts at a young age, into high school, middle school, picked up lifting weights in middle school at the age of 14.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened upon I was in a bookstore and I found in the sports section, because I was in the sports section, I found the Weider bodybuilding encyclopedia. It was like that thick. And opened that, and I was introduced to bodybuilding at that moment, and I wanted to bodybuilded for my first 7 or 8 months, gained 30 pounds of muscle, those newbie gains I wish I still had.
Yeah.
Went from 150 to 180, which was pretty cool. And then I realized, well, there's two things. I can be as big as humanly possible, and that's the main goal, or this route and be as strong as possible. And for me, it was more impressive to lift the heavier weights, not really too concerned with what I look like, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody wants to look good, but that's not the main objective here. So
right.
I took to a liking to it very quickly at age 14. So it's been 18 years almost of me just lifting weights ever since I was 14. I'll be 32 at the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up pretty quick. It wasn't a slow process.
Now, was this something where it was more like, oh, I just like lifting heavy? Or was it like, I'm really good at lifting heavy. Like this is coming relatively easy for me. And I'm gonna keep going.
It was for the first 40 years, 14 to 18, I just lifted to lift. Now I was always trying to be as strong as possible. That was always the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I found quickly that, I mean, as long as I was consistent, I've been injury free, luckily, my entire career.
That's great.
Just my plus or minus one or two little dings here and there, nothing major. But that was always the goal, was just to be as strong as possible. But those first 4 years was just me lifting in all ways, shapes, or forms. Overhead stuff, dumbbells, bench, squat, deadlift, anything you could name, I was doing. It wasn't until the age of 18 where I started specializing in just powerlifting itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like from 14 to 18, it sounds like pretty much every kid. That's how every kid starts. You know, where they grab some weights and they just start pumping. And as far as I'm concerned, three things happen. You lose interest for whatever reason, right? You go more toward bodybuilding because you're gifted that way, or you go toward powerlifting because you're gifted that way. And I've seen that. I've seen guys in the gym where it's like, I'm not very good at the actual bodybuilding part of it. Maybe you might have a thick waist, or I don't grow muscle like one of these genetic freaks, but I'm strong as fuck, and I'm going to take it as far as possible. Yes. And in the last few years, I would say in the last 5 to 7 years, equipped lifting has exploded again.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of like disregarded for a little while, but now all of a sudden it's exploded again, and records are being broken. Unbelievable records are being broken. What do you think is the reason that records are being broken so quickly and so dramatically?
Well, across the entire sport, I mean, regardless of which end of the spectrum you belong on, if you're the raw purist or you're the equipped maniac on the other side of the spectrum, records are being broken left and right. I think it has a lot to do with methods. I don't want to get into the drugs and different kind of peds and stuff. I don't know. I'm not involved in that, but methods are better. Knowledge is so widespread now. Anybody can just pick up their phone and just
very good
look
point.
Anything up. Back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, it started to become more prominent. Now it's just everybody has so much access to any amount of information in the entire world.
Right. Good point. Very good point.
Connect with anybody and connect with the pros if the pros talk to them, that is. But information is widely available. But with equipment gets better over time. Mm-hmm. You know, the first bencher, people get it twisted. Like, equipped powerlifting has been part of the sport since the 80s. We're talking 50 years now. Yeah. Well, 40 years, I guess. Mm-hmm. My math is off. But so equipped powerlifting has been part of the sport since the early 80s. Now, it has progressed over time. It's gone from very, very simple, thin polyester that gave you, 30 pounds to your bench, 50 pounds to your bench, or 100 pounds to your squat. Then it progressed into multiple layers, which brought, got into multiply. Then it went from polyester to canvas and denim. And now you've got these new band shirts is what they're called in the bench press world. And the people just become more and more proficient with these things. But like I said, I've been specializing just in, other things included, but I've been specializing in equipped bench for 14 years. Come May will be 14 years. I've been specializing just in equipped bench, that one lift that I've been trying to become proficient with. So availability to information, advanced equipment, and just becoming more and more strong and efficient with said advanced equipment. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much accurate. It's all a sum of everything. It's never one specific thing. How quickly did you blow up on the scene where people were like, "Oh, Did you see this kid, Jimmy? Did you see this new guy, Jimmy? Because you're a relatively young guy. You're only 30.
Yeah.
And Gillespie, he broke the record at 62. It took him 50 years. But
Right.
you're very young. So how long did it take before people actually started noticing you? Before the elite started noticing you?
Well, I made a 600-pound bench when I was 18 or 19 years old. I forget exactly what, but that made me the top teenage bench presser in the nation that year. So that got a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
That got some attention. Now I did my first 700-pound bench at the age of 19, and ultimately, this is at a body weight of about 217 or 218. I would achieve the first or second heaviest teenage bench press in history at 740 pounds.
Wow.
That was months before I turned 20 finally. So that got some attention. Benching 800 pounds at 20 years old, 900 pounds at 21 years old.
And this is equipped. This is all equipped, right?
This is all equipped.
Okay.
I've never gotten into the raw. I train raw sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like to do equipped bench. If I ever do raw, it's not because internet people say I need to or should. It's because I want to go raw.
Right.
For me, for one person only, that's myself. But
yeah.
So yeah, benching 900 pounds at 21 really started to get big attention. And then after that, it was just kind of, I won the Arnold Classic Bench Press Contest in 2014 with a 950 up on the main stage in front of everybody and all the big crowd and all the cameras and stuff. And, but these recent couple of years have been my most, I guess, being exposed as an athlete to the world so far.
So that brings me to my next question. Why didn't you wait till the Arnold to break the world record? Why did you do it? You did it the week before or 2 weeks before, something like that.
Yeah, the weekend prior. Yes.
Okay.
It's I don't know. I guess because I'm an Anderson athlete. I'm an Anderson powerlifting athlete. I've been one since I was 19 years old. The first time I benched 700 pounds. He's no longer the president of the company, but Ken Anderson picked me up as an athlete at 19 after I benched 700, and I've been with him ever since. So for the last 12, 13 years. So we go to the Arnold to work for them.
Okay.
And in this instance, this particular year, me and my wife both showed up Thursday morning at 7 sharp to help actually unload the box truck, wheel it all down to the booth, and actually set the booth up, and then conduct 3 full days of working in the booth, and then also conducting the tearing down process and taking stuff back to the dock to the box truck. So that was our first experience with the whole process, not just going to the Arnold and leaving at our leisure, but the tearing down and setting up portion. So there's a chance in the future I might take some time to compete at the Arnold again, but the weekend prior there was a meet at the York Barbell Hall of Fame in the museum, and that's one of my favorite venues.
Where is that?
York, Pennsylvania.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. All right.
But so we live in Northern Virginia, so it's literally like a 2-hour drive north for us. It's really easy to get to. And it's in the IPA, which is a federation that I'm in love with. They really care about the lifters, and I wanted to get my big lift in so that I could just come to the Arnold and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then also work for the company as well.
I've never been to the Arnold. I understand it's a great experience. Been to the Olympia 3 times. Never been to the Arnold. I got to make my way because everybody says that the expo at the Olympia expo at the Arnold is much better than the Olympia. I don't know.
I've seen videos of the Olympia. I've never been there before.
Yeah.
I will say the Arnold is out of this world, though. It's pretty crazy. So definitely got to make it over for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna I have friends that, now that I have the podcast, I have friends that are powerlifting, friends that are arm wrestling, bodybuilding, and they're always there. I got to make it my business to get there next year.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And it's fun, and I get to meet people. Like I interview you and we text, but I don't get to meet you in person. You know, that at those things I get to meet people in person, you know.
That's right. That's right.
So now where do you go from here? I mean, you bench press 1320. You're just going to keep on going. You're a very young man, or are you going to explore other things?
No. I'm going to keep going. One of our slogans is that it's never enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I put that on a few of the t-shirts that I make and sell, is never enough. So, I've had this conversation with my wife a few times where she's, because she's worried from time to time with these kind of poundages. What is it actually doing to my body? What is it doing to my brain? When is it going to be enough? Where you finally go, okay, I'm happy with that. Let's explore some other things. But
Mm-hmm.
I said I can't answer that until I get there. So far, like I'm already over 1320. I'm like, okay, that's old news. What's next?
Right.
So I have a few numbers in mind that I want to achieve, that I think the human body is capable of doing, before I finally go, okay, that's good for now. I'm satisfied. Let's pursue a couple of different things.
Yeah, right. Did you ever see I think it was the second Rocky, where Adrian wants Rocky to not fight anymore. And he says, this is what you married. This is what I am.
You married a fighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you married a powerlifter. This is what
you
I
did.
do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So speaking of Thor, did you check out the press conference today? Because he's fighting Eddie Hall this weekend. It's Saturday.
I did not.
It's for some reason. I don't know. It was supposed to happen like a few years back before COVID. Because there was I don't know if you remember, there was some kind of beef between the two of them at the World's Strongest Man. And they were supposed to fight a few years back, and it never happened. Then COVID hit, and it never happened. Then Eddie got hurt. And then finally, and they had the press conference today. And I'm a big Half Thor fan, but Eddie Hall is hilarious.
Oh,
dude, yeah. I hope to God he wins, because he's so funny at the press conference. It was.
I gotta watch that. No, I did not see it.
I'll send it to you. It's hilarious.
Please, I want to watch that. I don't know. Thor's got the reach, man. I don't know.
And he's been fighting. Like he's been in the ring. He's been fighting guys. He hasn't been fighting anybody but he's been fighting, and that's a big difference. Correct. Anyway, let's get back to powerlifting.
Cool.
What is it like? I mean, I don't even know if you could explain what it's like to hold 1,320 pounds. I mean, for people that don't know, you have 7 spotters. You have 3 on each side, and you have 1 in the back.
Correct.
Right. So when they give you the lift off, the 1 in the back walks away, and the other 6 guys release. What does it feel like having that kind of weight in your hands?
It's actually pretty easy to explain, which sounds dumb, but I'll get to it. So, and the handoff happens with 3 people. Now, the center guy and 1 guy on each side are responsible for, and myself, for getting the weight out. The additional 2 per side is just there for safety. Mm-hmm. So it's not 7 guys helping me lift. It's just those 3.
Okay.
Traditional 3-person handoff with additional people there to help in case something happens, to try their damnedest to get it off me. But so like I said, it's easy to explain, and this is going to sound really, really stupid, but it feels no different to me than when my max was 300 pounds when I was like 14 years old, or the first time I held 400 pounds in my hands when I was 15 or 16, or 450, then 5. Every single max weight has felt exactly the same. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 or more is always felt the same, relatively speaking. I mean, 1,000's 1,000, to 300 is 300, and I can now feel the difference. As if I was in the gym right now, I could put 300 pounds in my hand and go, okay, that's 300. This is 400. This is 500. But when we're handling these maximum when a human being handles maximum poundage, there's a lot of adaptation that has to take place, and it has to do with your central nervous system. So when we lift maximum weights, you're not only stressing your body, but you're stressing your CNS at the same time. And that's why, for instance, the bodybuilder who can bench 500 pounds for like 10 reps, is going to get beat on the 1 rep max because by the powerlifter who can only bench 500 for 2 reps.
Okay.
Because the body for 500 pounds is relatively light if you can do 10 reps with it, even though it's heavy weight. Mm-hmm. But the powerlifter has the developed and adapted CNS that allows him to lift more weight than what the bodybuilder could. So, I mean, I'm not going to, I don't want to make it sound like 1,320 pounds feels light. I mean, it felt like a Mack truck was in my, like the axle of a truck was in my hands. It's really heavy. And I've adapted myself to heavier weights. I've handled 1,400 or more 3 different times in the gym leading up to this competition. The top end weight being, I think, 1,425 is the most that I've actually done a bench press lift with in the gym. So I was adapted to weights heavier than this, but that's what it's all about. It's not just getting stronger. It's not just being consistent and being proficient with equipment. It's also adapting to these heavier and heavier loads and being able to tear down your CNS with a really heavy workload day and then come back and let it rebuild itself so you're stronger when you come back to the gym and do it again.
Wow. And it went up relatively easy. It looks like it because I watched it 10 times. Look, you had a little sticking point, but it went up, and when I watched Gillespie, it went up like that. Right. Yep. And the same thing with Tiny Mika went up like that. Mm-hmm. But do you remember, God, this has got to be 15 years ago. And explain to me what the difference is. I think it was Spoto. I think it was Eric Spoto. Mm-hmm. He set the world record, and then his eyes and his nose were bleeding when he stood up. Was it him?
Kennelly used to bleed.
That's it. Ryan Kennelly. So, was that just his like thing? Is that or was there a difference?
Me and Ryan Kennelly are really good friends, even though we physically could not be any further apart in this country. I'm in Virginia and he's in Washington State. I suppose if I was on the southern tip of Florida, might be a little bit further away. But when he was bleeding that way, I believe he was on some amount of PEDs.
Gotcha.
So the extra blood pressure and then being under pressure was causing the leakage of his blood.
Oh, because that was scary. I remember watching that when it first happened. Because I've always been a fan of bodybuilding and powerlifting, and only recently arm wrestling. But I remember being it had to be 15 years ago, maybe longer, watching that. I'm going, my God, that, wow. I mean, is his head going to blow up? It's unbelievable.
I still YouTube it. He made a T-shirt out of it, I think, at one point. Him with his tongue out, he's like bleeding. Yeah. But I YouTube it to this day because I still idolize the bench monster Ryan Kennelly to this day.
Has he been like a mentor to you?
No, we didn't connect until the 2020 COVID Arnold, the one that was like mostly shut down, but there were still events going on. So we connected at that Arnold for the first time. So I never met Kennelly or spoken to him until that day.
Okay. So you guys are just really good friends.
We're really good friends now because in 2020, March of 2020 was the first time I benched over 1,000 in my career.
Wow.
So I joined the club and then we connected at the Arnold. We text and call quite often, but I still to this day YouTube the Ryan Kennelly bloody bench.
Yeah.
Okay, it's slow motion when he sits up off the bench and his just got blood just running down
it's unbelievable.
It's so gnarly. I love it. Really cool.
So before I forget, because I'm always got these questions in my head, where could people get your apparel from, your T-shirts and so on and so forth?
Yeah. Me and my wife, after I got out of the military, decided to make our own T-shirt business. So she created an Etsy store, and it's called Melon Tops.
Melon Tops? MELON Tops?
Yes.
Okay.
One word. There's a lot of her designs on there. I only have maybe 5 or 6 different T-shirt designs. but you just got to search the Kolb Strong pull down bar, and there's t-shirts there available.
Is that the website kolbstrong.com?
I have a website. It's not really active yet, but
okay.
No, on the Melon Top store, and I think it's on the search bar. You click it, you can drop down and Kolb Strong merch, and you click that, then it brings you to a page.
Okay.
Still on the Etsy store where you can. There's like 5 or 6 t-shirts to choose from.
Okay, whatever the link is, I'll make sure it's in the description so people find it easy to find your merch and sell your t-shirts. Not that I'm exactly Joe Rogan, but my powerlifting stuff usually gets pretty good content views.
Awesome.
All right, so a couple of gossip questions, I guess you could say.
Cool.
The first one is, being a fan of the sport, I respect both raw and equipped. I guess you kind of have to understand. What do you say to people that say, "Oh, you're doing it equipped, it's cheating, and you're doing it with a shirt, blah 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 blah"? What do you respond to that, or do you just ignore it?
I ignore it. It's those, I've found out, especially recently, that the ones that have the biggest problem with equipment or equipped lifters are not even competitors themselves.
Right.
It's always the teenagers, the experts that are in their mom's basements that do nothing but get on the computer. Those are the ones that have the biggest problem. The first person that I ran into at this Arnold that congratulated me was Dan Bell.
Really?
The strongest raw powerlifter to ever live, Dan Bell. I didn't see him. He walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Dude, that was an amazing fucking lift. Congrats." I was like, "Yeah, it's Dan Bell. Holy shit. Good to meet you, in person." But I said, that's awesome coming from a raw guy. And he said, hey, I swing both ways and I respect the hell out of that. Those are his words. I was like, hey, so no, I ignore it for the most part. Internet jargon and internet comments affect me absolutely zero. Never in my life has someone's negative comment or negative opinion ever affected my life or my performance.
Good.
And not that weak-minded.
Good. No, and that, those guys wish they were you. Do you know what I mean? Like, one thing that social media has given birth to is criticism to the niche sports. Before social media, only the major mainstream sports had criticism. You listen to sports radio, back in the 90s and 80s and early 2000s, and if you're a football player that missed a pass, they were shitting all over you. But, nobody criticized, powerlifters, bodybuilders, arm wrestlers, so on and so forth until social media. And you could tell who it affects and who it doesn't because they respond. And they let it get to them. And my attitude is like, you're the star. You're the athlete. Just brush it off. Like you are like the guy that just won the Arnold Classic, William Bonac, right? A few years back, there was a podcaster, Louis Marco, and he was criticizing William Bonac's physique. And Louis Marco found him at an expo and confronted him and told him, keep my name out of your fucking mouth. And it's like, I mean, dude, you kind of have to let it brush off because he's a podcaster, he's a YouTuber. I know it was all new because this was like maybe 5 or 7 years ago, but this is what is going to happen. And you're the star. And now you're like one of the greatest bodybuilders in the world. Who gives a shit what anybody thinks, And same thing with you. And I'm glad that that's your answer because like you're literally the greatest equipped powerlifter in the world right now, and who gives a shit what fucking somebody thinks, It's
like I said, I am. It's people get it so twisted. I'd actually enjoy getting the negativity because I would just go fish. I would just fish for comments. I go to the meanest people. I would just one word answers, and they keep commenting. They keep coming back like these paragraphs.
It's unbelievable.
Like, this is just more comments for my shit.
Yeah.
I would just go fishing, but no, for real. People are so because people these days really take online life seriously. Like it's
pathetic.
actually reality. I'm like, this this is reality.
Yeah, right.
On like, this is not reality. I could just
Shut it off. Right. Yeah,
all your
exactly.
negativity could just go away. It's
Yeah,
really
it's the God's honest truth, man. And it's the truth.
yeah.
So Julius Maddox, do you
Yes.
think I had the privilege of interviewing him? Do you
Oh,
think he's going to be able to bench 800 anytime soon?
yes, I do.
Yeah, I do too. I just hope I don't know when, but I hope so.
I I don't keep close tabs on him because obviously we're just on two ends of the sport. But he's a bench presser, so I obviously know a lot about him. I've not
Mhm.
been able to have the privilege to speak to him in person or anything like that. But nobody else in the world is doing the things he's doing. Maybe you look at his reps, his weights, his consistency. Um, so if there's anybody who can do it and do it soon, it's definitely going to be him. The only thing that concerns me, I don't keep close tabs. I only heard um, that he had lost some weight ever so recently. If that's true or not, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I had
It could
heard that he had
be.
lost weight for health concerns.
Oh,
So he was at his highest weight and he was that close to doing it. And I
right.
heard he's lost weight for health reasons.
Oof, I hope not.
That concerns me that maybe, if he couldn't do it at four or came very close to doing it at 440 or 450, however big he was, if he lost weight,
Yeah.
how far is that chance now? But I
Yeah,
mean, the
that's
man,
rough.
I mean, you can't argue anything the man does.
No, yeah, he is, and it's almost it's so funny because the bench press is it's a little bit unconventional because it almost goes into his chest cavity. You know, it's so deep, he just lets it lay on his chest and then just presses. Everything is like tricep movement. It's unbelievable. It's so
Right?
impressive.
Yeah, he's just an enormous human being
Yeah,
moving enormous weight, and it
yeah,
just the simplicity of it, just take it and just bring it down and just get it up. Just
right.
not there's lack thereof. Really, I mean, I've seen much better technique, but at the same time, look who has the heaviest raw bench.
Yeah, it works for him. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. Speaking of weight, if you don't mind me asking, how tall are you and how much do you weigh?
I am 65 inches, 5'5", and I weigh currently 315.
So you're 5'5". Do you think the fact that your limbs are shorter helps you with the bench press?
Absolutely.
Okay, I thought so.
No, absolutely. Um, and that's one of the biggest things that like if people can't criticize anything else, oh, it's equipped or they have to bring in like, oh, well, you've got short ass arms and I could bench that weight if I had short arms. And I'm like, to pick better parents next time, motherfucker, I
Yeah,
guess. Like,
you
what do you
don't
want me?
have the short arms. What do you want me to do?
I was born this way. What do you?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
So
That is just,
I just laugh. I'm like, no, just block you. I don't give a fuck. Just
yeah, I don't blame
stay
you.
out of my
I would
life,
do the
man.
same thing.
Yeah,
I wish I had people shitting on me. I would know that I'm actually doing something right. But
I know I'm doing something correct when I've got honestly, I mean, as far as my platforms go, I don't see all the the other people making YouTube videos about it or whatever, but on my platforms, I'm actually shocked at how little hate I've gotten for that lift as opposed to others in the past.
mm,
It was mind. I mean, there's still some,
right.
but somebody always has something to say. But I was shocked at how much good stuff, good responses that it got, which was pretty cool. But
Would you
again,
say
that's
I would think the majority of people you're always going to have your haters. You're always going to have your shitheads, but I think the majority of people would be positive toward it. You know.
yeah. I mean, one of the things I'm very proud um, that people were acknowledging was that how clean the lift was, how very obviously finished and locked out the lift
It
was,
was. It was no question.
and that so even on the equipped side of the sport, being told that was one of the cleanest, most obviously deliberately locked out lifts they've ever seen meant a
Mm-hmm.
lot to me personally. Um, I've never I've never been given a gift. And that means in the sport of powerlifting, a lift that probably shouldn't have gotten passed, but they gave it
I
to you
got
a
you.
gift.
I got you. Yeah.
I've never been given a gift bench, which kind of irritates me because I see some other shit. I'm like, how in fuck did that pass? What?
Right.
But at the same time, I'm glad that I don't get gifts because I don't want that over my head. I don't want to be known as the guy who gets shady lifts passed for some odd reason over and over again. I don't want that on my record. So
you see that with squatting a lot, where it's like, yeah, that guy really didn't go down too far,
equipped specifically multiply squats. That's kind of a blemish. There has been a blemish in the sport in the past where guys are just squatting a mile high, and getting it passed somehow. Sometimes no, but sometimes yes. And that's kind of the wishy-washy. So I don't want, a sport that already has some integrity issues. I don't want to add to integrity issues. I want to make everything as legit and clean and good as possible, especially being on the equipped side of the sport.
One more question, Jimmy, and I'm going to let you go.
Cool.
This is another gossip drama question. Daniel Zamani.
Yes.
Why do you think he doesn't enter meets if he's benching over 800 and he's just doing it in his gym?
Oh, why do I think he doesn't enter meets?
Yeah. Some people say it's a bullshit lift. Maybe it's fake weights.
I've seen the zoomed in pictures. I've watched the lift several times myself. I've heard the rumors. As far as him not getting on a platform, I mean, the man's from Iran. Let's just be real. I mean, maybe he just can't. They don't have, officiated competitions of that nature in where he's at, and perhaps he can't travel. I know the process. Say, for example, if he wanted to come to the U.S., I was told of the process he would have to go through. Traveling to, I believe it was like Turkey to apply for a visa, go back. That could take months. Go back to Turkey to see if it's approved. If it is approved, he has to go back again and he has to get something. I don't know. Maybe it's just so difficult for him to get to a competition just because of his location. I'm just kind of spitball a little bit.
You know what? I never thought of that, but you might be right because there is a top tier bodybuilder named Heidi Chopin who is Iranian, and he always has a problem getting to the States from his country. So that you might be onto something, but he does get here. Last year wasn't so bad, but 2020 it was very difficult for him to get here. So you might be onto something. But that being said, how awesome would that be if Maddox and Zamani were in the same meet together? I mean, everybody would stop to watch that. That would be fantastic.
I'd want to be there for that.
Yeah, right.
That's how awesome it would be, because I want to believe that what he has done is legit and real. I can't give an opinion like it's definitely real or no, that's bullshit, fake. I won't do that. My only answer when people ask me on my opinion is get him on a platform. That's right. I'm not going to call bullshit. I'm not going to say, yeah, fucking legit. But all I say is just get him on a platform and let's just see it. That's all I want to see. I really want to believe it's real. But what can you know from an internet video? It's
right. Yeah. I mean, he certainly looks like he did. He's a monster of a man.
He's a mammoth monster of a human being. So he looks the part. Like, I definitely can believe it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just get him on a platform.
Yeah. I don't know either. I hope he does make it to the States and competes in a meet. That would be great because I think he would break the internet.
I think the internet would have hopefully officially break.
Forever. No, but that'd be fantastic. So what's next for you, Jimmy? Are you going to do any more meets, or are you going to take it easy for a little bit?
Oh, I've got one of the busiest first halves of the year right now. I'm in the middle of possibly the busiest 6 months of my life, starting, of course, with the competition I just did at York, the end of February. So, oh Jesus, we were at York, drove straight to Ohio to family that week, did the Arnold, came home the next Tuesday. We left again for York a second time this past weekend, where I helped judge and officiate a competition up in York, 2-day meet. This is our first full week home in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So next week, Thursday, we're getting on a plane to go down to Boca Raton, Florida.
Very nice.
For the WPO Bench Bash for Cash. That's on the 26th. That'll be next Saturday. And a week and a half later, we're getting back on the road to go to Cincinnati, Ohio, to go to the Women's Pro-Am.
Okay.
That Laura Phelps is hosting. So
that's impressive. When you see those girls, that is impressive, especially the girls like a Laura Phelps. Yes. Or when Rita West was powerlifting and they're like 140 pounds and they're putting up this incredible amount of weight.
Well, and I have the pleasure of working with one of the most impressive female lifters to date, like in my own gym. Me and Amber Hansen are both training partners.
Wow.
So I have the heaviest bench for a male, and she has the heaviest female bench in history as well. So
I thought it was Katrina. What's the name? Who had the heaviest bench?
Amber just broke it.
Damn it! Now I got to contact her and get her on. Okay.
It was it was back. It was in it was in November, I believe. Yeah, it was in November. She benched 615.
Wow. And Amber, what's her last name?
Hansen, Hansen. All
right, I got to contact her. I did not know.
Yeah.
That. All right.
So we trained together, so that works pretty well.
Oh, good. Then tell her that I'm going to contact her and have her on.
I will. Yeah. So we're all going to that Pro-Am. Obviously, it's a women's meet. I'm going up to help our gals. And then a month and a half later, on May 14th, is the baddest bencher competition in
Tiny Mika's, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he's a good dude. I had him on. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, we talk. I've known Tiny for quite a few years.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Really is. I thought he killed himself. Was it at your meet where he dropped the weight? And I was like, oh my god, that was
the week prior. That was 1 week prior to my meet.
I thought he cut himself in half. I was like, Jesus Christ.
That's why my personal rule, our personal rule, we do not compete on a bench unless it has the body sabers attached.
Okay.
That's the only reason that bar did not sever him or break his back from belly down.
My God.
Because he had the body saber. So it hit him, but then it came in contact with the body sabers before it went too far.
Oh, thank God. Wow. Yeah.
That's what saved him. And I will never compete on a bench without him.
I don't blame you. Wow. That is just, yeah. Because I texted him. He's like, no, I'm fine. I was like, oh, all right, cool.
His thumb's a little fucky still because it took his thumb, but he's doing good.
All right, good. Jimmy, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. And first and foremost, I tell this to a lot of people that I admire. The one great thing about having a YouTube channel podcast is that I could interview the people that I admire. And it's not like I'm a guy on CBS that has to interview some shithead politician that you don't really care about. I reach out to the people that I admire. So I've always admired strength and powerlifting, and it is an honor to have you on my show, brother. And I really appreciate it. Much love, much respect. Thank you again.
Same to you, John. Thank you very much for having me on here.
You got it, brother. No problem, man.